So Tasha, I'm gonna get started, but I just want to let you know that my name is Koku.
Hi,
Real
Koku.
name.
I love it. Koku, where are you
Yeah.
from?
Well, my parents are originally from Tanzania, East Africa. My mother by way of Rwanda, but
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I was born in Chicago. Been
Okay,
in
girl.
been in New
Chicago
York
born.
most of my life.
Right.
Chicago. I know. Listen, they talk about Chicago, but I know about you. I know you from Camden.
You know I'm from Camden, sis. Born and
Yeah, we're
raised.
gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about that. All right. So, hi, my name is Coco with blackfilm.com, and I'm here with the legendary Tasha Smith. She is an actress, director, producer, teacher, mentor, many, many things. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, sis. I really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. And let me just say this: you ain't have to stun on us like that. We've seen the Instagram pics from the premiere. You ain't have to do us like that.
I just felt I felt flirty like the 80s. Like, you
You
know
look
what I
so
mean?
good. They was in the comments. They was like, okay, kind of summer. Just black girl excellence there all the way. But I do want to start now. And Survival of the Thickest, by the way, it's hilarious. I have been watching it, and I'm glad that I've been watching it. It's just so funny. It's so relatable. And one of the things I really like about the show is that as someone that lives in New York and then I've been here for so long, like I'm seeing like the different bodega. Like I know that bodega. I know what I get from that bodega. I'm seeing like people that I know so it's very
I mean,
relatable. So yeah.
isn't that, and what about the Brooklyn Museum? Have you seen the episode with my character Marley and Daphne at the Brooklyn Museum on the date and then sitting out on the steps? I live for me, that is like so New York, aside from the bodega,
Yes.
like being able to get that location, I
Yes.
loved it. I
Yes.
loved it.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And I love what you're doing for New York, and I love the show. I just love the relatability, just everything about it. Like it's just so fun and just so funny. So I appreciate you for that. But let's kind of start from the beginning here. So as we were saying before, you're originally from Camden, New Jersey, and as you and I both know, Camden kind of like a Chicago, right? Sort of has a reputation that precedes, everybody. So just sort of like growing up in Camden, like what was that like before you got to where you were in LA and Hollywood?
I mean, sis, like honestly, I feel like, I joke around with friends sometimes and I'll be like, listen, honey, I was raised by wolves. All right. So let's not play. I mean, Camden, I mean, I feel like that's where I got a lot of my courage. That's where I got a lot of my fearlessness. I
Mhm.
feel like Camden gave me boldness. Life was not easy, but it was the life that God designed for me. And
Yeah.
it made me the person I am today. I knew all the dope dealers, I knew the pimps, honey. I knew the barmaids, honey. I knew, like, it was like that vibe. Like, it was rough, but whose life
Yeah.
isn't?
What? Yeah. Yeah. When is it ever easy? Yeah. 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 Even depending. And then it's also like, so you came to Hollywood very early. You were still a teenager, right?
Yes. Well, I was 18.
You were
I was
18.
18.
Mm. But I
Yeah.
mean, what goes through the mind where you say to yourself, like, I want to go to LA and I'm gonna make it, and this is what at 18 years old when you decided to come out west, what were you telling yourself that you wanted to be when you grew up, so to speak?
I just felt like, I had this dream and I didn't know why it was so deep in my soul, but now I know that it was God showing me exactly what He had for my life. And
Mm.
I just figured, let me go see, like, what do I have to lose? Like, how sometimes you have this feeling inside of yourself that you're supposed to go pursue something, but you're afraid, you're insecure, you don't think you're good enough. You know what I mean? But you still do it. And then when you get there, you see that God had a blessing for you. I was terrified. I was
Mm.
nervous. And when I was talking to you about Camden, and some of my friends from Camden gave me some money, some dope dealers actually gave me some money and
Mhm.
an airplane ticket and a dope
Mhm.
dealer waiting for me when I got to LA.
That's how it works because they always know. They know when it's like, this is not for you're bigger than this. You're bigger than this
Yeah.
program, and so they'll almost kind of kick you out. But they know they see something in you that even if you don't see it in
Yo,
yourself
it
yet,
was
it
a
always.
blessing. It
Mhm.
was like those brothers that helped me out.
Hmm.
They really invested, as far as I'm concerned, in my life, in my career, in my purpose. And
Hmm.
that was like the biggest blessing that someone could have done for me. And that's why, even when I think about when it was time for me to direct BMF, because I
Hmm.
did the pilot of BMF and
Hmm.
executive produced the first season. But it was so important to me to get the essence of it right, because people have this idea of what like the crime world is about or is like, right? When most people don't understand, it is systemic as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned. It
Hmm.
is very systemic. And sometimes when the opportunities aren't given to us, we may turn to that. But our hearts, our mentality, our desires for family, friends, prosperity, all that stuff is real. But I just wanted to try to give that story some justice
Hmm.
because of the experience I had growing up with, guys that lived, some of them lived a life of crime.
They live that way. And let's even talking about that. So you said you executive produced, you've been directing and so forth. One thing I noticed that is, as far as, let's say, your core, like in the earlier years, and the people that really really speak very highly of you, like an Eddie Griffith, who says he came up with you, and you guys are running around like little kids, right, acting a
Listen,
fool. But it's Eddie, right? You talk about Dave Chappelle. You've even said that Paul Mooney was a mentor to you. All these
yes.
roles
Let me
lead
tell
to
you
comedy.
something. Let me
Hmm.
tell you, when I moved to California, I remember Tisha Campbell had taken me to the Comedy Act Theater, and that's when I saw Martin Lawrence performing on stage, and I was obsessed with the Comedy Act Theater and I mean, Jamie Foxx, everybody would come through. I would hang out there and just watching everybody every week, and it was actually Joe Torre that inspired me because he was the host of the open mic night. He inspired me to do stand up. And then eventually I met Eddie Griffin. I met Dave Chappelle. Eddie Griffin and I used to be roommates. Like pretty much I used to stay with him rent free. Okay. I didn't have no money to pay for nothing anyway, okay? But Eddie took care of me. He was like a mentor and helped me with my comedy. Dave Chappelle, I always call him my big little brother because
Mhm.
he was just always just the most generous, beautiful being. He was younger, but
Right.
he was like an old soul at such a young age and such a wonderful support system. We
Mm.
shared the same manager back in the day, but we just became very good friends. And he and Donnell Rollins, I mean, my God, Donnell, oh my God. I swear, and Donnell tries to get me to go back on stage. Dave tries to get me to go back on stage. Like, come on, you should try it. But I think one day I might get the courage to do it if they write my jokes for me.
I was gonna say, like, what? Yeah, what would stop you? Are you afraid? Like, what do you think? You think is
I'm,
it gonna
I'm,
land?
well, you know what? I used to feel very insecure that my material wasn't good enough.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I just felt like there were so many brilliant comics around me. I think I just felt like I wasn't as good as those guys. And they were
Mm.
such brilliant writers. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I feel like it was just so much pressure. I used to just feel so stressed out all the time. And girl, I was doing a lot of drugs when I was doing stand up. And when I stopped, let's keep it 100. I was doing a
Let's keep
lot
it
of
real. Let's
drugs,
keep it real.
a
Yes.
lot of drugs. And then when I stopped doing drugs and I stopped getting high, doing all that stuff, I was like, well, what if I go back on the stage and that cocaine demon try to get me again?
Well, see, I went to school in Atlanta. I'll tell you that. So when I went to school in Atlanta, now imagine this. At a time where there's a lot of experimentation as well. So when you talk about sort of the drugs thing, a lot of folks like this is when Atlanta, you can get an apartment in Atlanta for like $400. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, it wasn't Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. It wasn't like reality
No,
TV.
I remember those days. I used to stay with some
Yeah,
friends, and a couple of them was strippers in Magic City. Okay.
right, exactly. Magic City, they always listen. Magic City, people don't know this, but Magic City, especially if you've ever been to Atlanta, people don't necessarily always go for the strippers. They have very good food.
Honey child, they got the best chicken wings, don't they? I mean, I don't need chicken anywhere anymore, but
People will have a meeting just to go to Magic City to eat,
yes,
and it's
just
like
to go. Like, hey, we gonna have a meeting and see some ass all at the same
the,
time.
backdrop is what it is. But at the same time, something's gonna get done. That's just how Atlanta works. But
Right.
yeah, I think that with youth, we make decisions, we make conscious decisions that like it's experimentation. Stuff that you can kind of look back at and sort of laugh at that just wouldn't make sense, let's say like in the now, but
Right.
what kind of made you keep going though? Because even with Hollywood, it's a very, very difficult place. Like I'm sure like you've come up with so many people, and some of these people that you considered like very esteemed, like these are your friends, right? These are people that you know, they're damn near family at this particular point. But then there's people that come and go. Some folks they can only last 6 months in Hollywood and they leave. What made even all of y'all just stick it out? Was it because you had that camaraderie and that family?
I think the camaraderie, the family, and
Mm.
honestly, I didn't have a plan B, sis. I
That
really
makes a
did
difference.
not have a plan B. I was a
Mm-hmm.
high school dropout. I
Mm.
didn't have a formal education. I did not know what else I could possibly fall back on. And
Mm.
this dream was so big. I said, let me just stay as long as I can. I'm just going to stay in this. I just need to see God do something. I need to see if it's going to happen. It was hard. I slept in my car at the beach. I had
Mm.
This little Ford Escort, and I remember just being homeless, sleeping at Venice Beach, going in that bathroom, washing up in the bathroom, or waiting for some of my friends' parents to leave. I remember there's this comedian named Ruben Paul,
Mm-hmm.
and he's still around. And I don't know if he remembers this, but when I was sleeping in my car and he was staying with his family, I remember I needed to come over and just take a shower. And I
Wow.
remember we had to wait for his family to leave, and then I was able to come over there and do that. But I mean, it was just rough, sis. But the only thing I had to keep me going was my dream. And
Yeah.
that's why I encourage people to pursue whatever it is that they're passionate about with
Mm-hmm.
a focus and a tenacity. And I'm telling you, like, God is able to do it. The thing I feel that stops us from getting the things that we desire
Mm.
is quitting.
Right. Just
That's
right.
the thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, there's this saying that says, not to grow weary while doing good, for
Mm.
in due season you shall reap if you faint not. And it's actually a scripture in Galatians 6:9.
Mm. Okay. There you
Don't
go.
don't quit.
Now, did I see that at some particular point you did not walk with faith, and it became something that you later, in your
Yeah.
journey?
Like, it was a
How did
time
this happen?
I just didn't believe, girl. It's such a long story, but I had a friend. I mean, I had a thing that happened with some family members where I was like
Mm-hmm.
testing God, and something happened. It seemed like such a miracle. I was like, wow, maybe there is a God. And by the time I had gotten home, a friend of mine named AJ Saunders had gotten born again. And I was like, how you gonna get born again? You betrayed me. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
I thought
Right.
you was in the atheist club. You know
You
what
was
I
in this
mean?
atheist struggle
Like,
together.
but she was like talking to me about God and had taken me to this church. And I remember going to that church and just reading, we were just reading the Bible. And it just seemed like God became so real to me reading that
Huh.
word.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, maybe I should trust you. And maybe if what people are saying as far as like a plan for my life and a purpose for my life, and that I'm created for something special, maybe I need to just give it a shot. And you know what I mean? And just stay and just trust you for it. You know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
ended up finding my acting teacher, Ivana Chubbuck. Sorry about that. I ended up finding my acting teacher and became a teacher. I felt
Yeah. I
like
was
I
gonna
was
ask you a question. You still have your acting school, right?
I sure do. And
And how?
I started my acting school because I started teaching for Ivana Chubbuck. And
Okay.
I went from her student to her teacher. And then I ended up starting my own school because I wanted to do it for the hood. So I
Yeah.
literally was teaching like off Crenshaw Boulevard in the hood, rented this little space. We had little folding chairs. I would literally give people like $20 off if they brought a friend. Like, it was like that. You know what I
Right.
mean? Just trying to get folks to come.
Yeah.
And before you know it, it just blew up. But I feel like our life is really predestined and it's designed. And a lot of times we don't have an answer. We don't
Right.
have an answer. But if we keep taking the steps, right? Our footsteps are ordered by God. But a lot of
Mm.
times we won't take the step and even for it to be ordered. Is there ever a time you decide, let me just go take a walk? And then when you take a walk, you discover something that changes your life. I want to tell you a little story. And this is, I don't even know, this is like a somewhat of a long story, not really a long story, but I just feel like I want to share it with you. So I was in I was in Lagos. I was in Nigeria, and I was there doing something that they call the AMVCA Awards. And Sheon Kuti, who is one of my dear friends, who's at the Blue Note in April, the first week of April, he's fab, right? He's like Fela Kuti's son.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So there's this place called the Shrine that they have in Nigeria where Fela Kuti would perform, but his children are still running it, Femi and Sheon. So we're out partying, and I'm at the shrine, and I'm getting my entire life. Femi, Sheun, they're all performing, the dancers, like I'm in bliss. I'm in Africa. Oh my God. Like it was just this experience. And I was up for this really big job, right? To direct something I wanted so badly because I'm such a fan of this producer and filmmaker named Taylor Sheridan. And there's a show called Mayor of Kingstown where I had gone through all of these interviews and all these meetings, and this was my last one where they wanted to get me on a Zoom. And I was like, get on a Zoom? And it was like at 1 o'clock in the morning, Nigeria time. And I was like, oh my God, but I'm at the shrine with me and Sheon Kuti. Do you understand where I'm at? And
Mm.
I waited for Sheon to get off stage, and I ran backstage and I said, brother, I gotta go because I got this big interview for a job that I really want. And everyone was there. Femi was there, the dancers were there, the wives, everybody. And so Sheon took this necklace off of me and put it around my neck. And he said, go, sister, you can't lose. He just said, you can't lose. So I kissed Femi, I kissed Sheon, I said it bye to everybody, left, ended up getting the job. The day, and this is, I'm getting back, I'm bringing it back around to when our footsteps are ordered by God. So,
Mm.
and this just meant something to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to Pittsburgh where we're filming this TV show. First day I landed, I got my necklace around my neck that Sharon gave me. I was like, I'm wearing it the entire shoot. My brother was like, you can't lose, gave me this necklace that he had just performed with, had all that creative energy in it. And I said, I'm going to take a walk.
The walk, right? Mm-hmm.
I just felt led to take a
Mm.
walk. I go out to take a walk, and I see this stage being built at this festival. And I
Mm.
was like, wow, look at this. This is beautiful. I'm so glad I came out to take a walk. I said, who's performing? Sheon Kuti. I mean, not Sheon, but Femi Kuti. And
Mm-hmm.
all the dancers that I was with the night that I was at the shrine when I got the job. The day I
Mm.
had to leave
Dead.
because, but guess what? God brought that entire band, all of those dancers, and Brother Femi to Pittsburgh the day that I landed. And the show that I missed because I had to end up leaving, I ended up being able to get it right in Pittsburgh where I was at. That was like magical for me. And I
Wow.
tell you something, I believe that God is always setting the stage
Mm-hmm.
and we can't lose.
Yeah.
Like we can't lose. Take the walk of faith. You never know what you're going to discover on your path. But not only will you discover things, but you and that stage that was being set, I felt like symbolized the stage that God is setting for our lives.
Mm.
Like, period. Like, we got to keep the faith. We got to believe that we can't lose. We have this talent for a reason. And a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times we think they are only a blessing to us, but our very gift and talent is also a blessing to them. So I'm going to say
Mm.
this to you, sis. You can't lose. Take the walk of faith. and watch you see the stage that God has set for you.
Wow, Tasha, I really received that. I really, really do. Thank you. I've never heard it said quite in that way. I never. Wow, thank you. I really received that. So look, she's funny and she's anointed. I mean,
Ah,
how? Um, I do. So we talked about how you really wanted that job really badly, but also just in looking at, like, I kind of look at things like it's almost, and I'm saying this kind of like in a little bit, like I'm kind of being a little bit silly about it, but it's kind of true. It's almost like there's like 6 degrees of Tasha Smith in Hollywood in some kind of way. Like all roads lead to every single black person that has been in Hollywood has somehow like touched the hem of your garment. Like, like one of my friends, he audited your class. Same friend. I mean, I'm not gonna say any names right now, but like who this person is. But like people value you to have lived a life where you have been in Hollywood for as long as you have, and to not have, let's just say, like burnt bridges or accumulated enemies. Like, just I want you to talk about what's important for a person to do, because you hear so many people. There's always so much chatter with certain folks. You don't hear that with you. You
I
know?
mean, I tell you this, and it doesn't mean that everybody likes me because I don't think that everyone. I'm like, I know there are people out there
Right,
that
right,
don't like me. I know that. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's some
uh,
people that
right.
can't
It's
handle
like, it's
all
like,
the energy, can't
right,
handle all this truth. Can't, I'm not for everyone, right? I
right.
know I'm not, but I don't care. I am
That's the
not supposed to be for everyone. And I'm here to be here for the people that I am supposed to be here for.
yeah.
And whoever doesn't get it, don't get it. And I don't care. But I feel like I don't really do a lot.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest with you, sis, like my life is an open book, honestly. Anything that anybody could have ever chatted about me, I've probably already told it. You know what I'm
mm-hmm,
saying? Like I probably already shared it, and
mm-hmm,
I feel like sometimes we do things and we hide out and we get behind closed doors and we want everything to say a secret because that's how the enemy likes it, okay? He can
mm-hmm,
live in the dark. Do you understand what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
All of the nasty stuff can live in the dark. I feel like I don't have a lot of stuff out there, really. Like, I don't really do nothing, to be honest. Like, I'm kind of low key corny. I mean,
That's how I
seriously.
be feeling.
I mean, some of the, I'm serious. Like, I'm low key kind
You
of
know,
corny.
I relate to that. Like, I'm not doing the things y'all think I'm doing. I don't do things. Like, I
Sis,
don't know
I
what y'all.
ain't doing shit. Honestly, I ain't doing shit. I ain't doing a bunch of shit. I be
Right.
going
I'm
to
just
bed
exactly
early.
me
You
too.
know, I do. I go to bed early. I'm serious, sis. I go to
Yeah,
bed
for
early.
real.
Like I gotta pull myself together to go out. That's why you don't really see me outside like that. Like,
Right, 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 right.
folks be outside all the time. Listen, I be wanting to get some sleep. I
Yeah,
like to get up at 5 in the morning. Like I
yeah.
like to be up at
With
the
a
crack of
clear head.
dawn.
With a clear head. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just, I don't do nothing. But I mean, but I do like to go and have a good time.
Of
But
course.
I probably enjoy staying home, having some wine
Hmm.
more than going out and being around a bunch of people, to be honest.
Hmm. I think it also would depend. It also, see, you have a unique positioning in that, it's one thing if you were sort of just directly in one channel, right? Like, okay, Tasha, the actress, that's one thing, or Tasha, the director. You do so many things that so many people are going to want to pull from you, like, oh, girl, so, you got a role for me? Like, or like, can you put me in this? So it's not so much like, somebody trying to hand you a script per se, but it's also people trying to look for opportunities through you where maybe like when you go out, it's not going to be as good a time because like I just came here to hear some music. I didn't come here to talk about what I can and can't do for you. Does it feel
You
like
know,
that sometimes?
no, I mean, I can't say that it does, that it feels like that,
Okay.
honestly, because you know why, sis? I kind of don't
Mm.
mind people. I
Aw.
actually like people. Like I don't mind people. And I'm like, I get energy from people. You know what I mean? I don't mind, like, and I'm very honest. I'm not one that's running from people asking me those kind of questions because I'm just honest. I ain't got nothing for you. Like if the right thing comes up,
Yeah.
I mean, it would bring me more joy to give an opportunity to somebody than I think the joy would be for them to get the job. Like I'm
Mm.
excited to look for opportunity for people. I'm
I see that in
excited.
you. Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and I'm not afraid of that. I'm like, I'm just honest. I'm transparent. You know, if I can make it happen, I can. If I don't think you're right for it, nah, I don't think, you know what I mean?
Right.
But maybe let me see. And,
Hmm.
you know, I'm open. So I don't really
Hmm.
get bothered by people like that.
I think that makes you, honestly, I think that's a very, very unique thing about you, honestly. Like, I think a lot of people, they, knowing that they have a level of, maybe say leverage or power, let's say, sometimes people really can abuse that or can kind of hold it over people's heads.
But I'm not afraid to tell people to leave me the hell alone. Y'all stop. Now you know I told you I got nothing for it. I don't mind being that girl. And then we gonna sit
Yeah.
down and have a little cup of coffee or tea or a
Right,
glass
right,
of
right,
wine. You know what I
right.
mean? Like I'm just sis, I'm a people person.
Hmm.
You know, and I try to be more approachable than not. You know what I
Good.
mean? Like I like the energy of people, of fans, of all of that stuff. And sometimes I don't. I just want to go somewhere and eat and be with, like if I'm out with my mama or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And folks be, I'll be like, yo, let me stay with my mom, please. I ain't
You
seen her in
would
so
hope people could, yeah, that's a kind of cue. You shouldn't have to say that though. Like if you see somebody with a
yeah.
mama, like come on now, you know.
But sometimes people just get excited.
Well, that's true. So that's fair. Yeah,
They
yeah.
just get excited.
What is your sign? Well, you and she's a twin, y'all. So you and your sister is
Yeah.
that.
So
What's your
an
sign?
identical twin, and I'm a
Yes,
Pisces.
you're Pisces. Oh wait, so your birthday just came.
Yep, February 28th.
Oh, you almost became a leap year baby.
Almost.
Oh, that's so adorable. No, but I mean, no, I had to ask because a lot of times, like people, I don't know, like, or you'll find like sometimes like I'll interview people and people that are in the spotlight, they're very well liked and so forth. But you'll see that a lot of actors sometimes they're very withdrawn. They're not the loud,
I
boisterous
have a
person.
lot
They're
of
not.
friends that
Yeah,
are that's like that.
really.
Like a lot of friends that are not people like into people like that. You know what I mean? And I'm mindful of their space because that's how they are. You know what I'm saying? But that's still part of our uniqueness. Like
Yeah,
everyone is not a person that likes people, right? I remember
yeah,
one time I went to ministry school and it was talking about your energy and your gifts and how it fits with certain positions within
mm,
the ministry in a sense. They said I was like I had the energy of an evangelist.
huh?
That was like the energy I had. I'm the person that comes in, stir you
Yeah,
up, excited, you know,
mhm,
motivate you, push you out there. You know what I mean? And then you have some people that are more pastoral, you know what
yeah,
I'm saying, more patient with people. Then you have people that's like the teachers or people that's like, you know, that works in the helps part. You know what I mean? But like
yeah.
all of us, we have unique gifts that
Right.
work for us based on what
Yeah.
God designed for our life.
Mm, mm. Do you still have to audition?
Yep.
Oh, you do? Huh.
I do. I do. I still have to. Some things I think is ridiculous. Like some things I'll be like, come on.
Like
Like I'm
you know how I would do it.
I don't mind auditioning, but I think sometimes some things could
Yeah.
be a little disrespectful.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but
No, and
I
I
don't
think
mind
you've earned
auditioning.
that. You've earned that. You've earned that.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't mind. But
Uh-huh.
it's interesting how sometimes people think I need to prove to them, you
Mm,
know, that I can do something. You know what I mean? As a teacher, as an actor, as a director, you know,
mm,
who's been in this business for over 30 years, you know, but at the same time, I'm still hungry. I'm
mm.
still I mean, I had to audition for Bad Boys 4, and I
Huh.
didn't mind auditioning at all. I could
Wow.
have tried to call Will up, you know, call Jada to call Will. Where Will at? You can't tell him I need this job or whatever. You know, no. I said, you know what? I
Yeah.
love Will. I love Martin,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna feel entitled. They probably want to see it and feel it, and I'm gonna give it to them. And if they like it, they like it. If
Mm.
they don't, it's okay. But yes, but I don't mind it. But
You
there
don't mind it.
have been a couple of situations. that I felt was a little low key disrespectful.
Well, what's it like for you? Because you do know, you know all of, you know the being in front of the camera, being behind the camera. You know the inner workings of it. You just really know how it goes, and you know how to play your role. And I don't know how the heck you pull it off, but the fact that you're able to be in a production while producing it or directing, I don't get it, right? Like I don't know that I have that in me. Like I think I would be all over the place. I'll be exhausted. But what happens when you're in a production where your sole piece is to act in this production, but you know how it goes. You know you would direct this scene differently. You like, do you ever have to sort of like kind of like hold back a little bit and try not to maybe almost, I don't know if the word is disrespect, but you don't want to kind of overstep because
Yeah, I don't believe in doing that like at
right.
all. Like
Mm,
when I joined the DGA, like it is
mhm,
almost like you are of service as a
hmm,
director, right?
mhm,
And for me, having the honor of having as a black woman in Hollywood to have a DGA membership, that I am a member of
yeah,
the Directors Guild of, that is a, I mean, I can't believe that that's my life. But
yeah,
one thing about the DGA that I appreciate is that they empower us to be able to tell our stories. And as directors, we have a right to tell our stories. Now, when
mm,
you're directing television,
mhm,
you're directing and serving the vision of the showrunner. When
mhm,
you're directing features, you're pretty much serving the vision of yourself because that's like your movie, right?
mhm,
But I believe that the way directors learn and grow is by
mhm,
us allowing them to do their job and to tell their
mm,
story. When I first
mhm,
started directing, I didn't know everything. I couldn't figure it all out. Some people like me, some people may not have liked me. But the blessing was, and where my growth came from, is getting the opportunity to tell my story, getting the opportunity to make mistakes, getting the opportunity to discover new things. So, as an actor working with the director, I inspire, even if I may have had an internal opinion as to
yeah,
why, it doesn't matter why. It's
hmm,
still their story to tell. So
hmm,
let me allow them to tell their story. So I don't try to be fussy too much and get in the way too much. You know what I'm saying? If I'm asked for any help, like I work with this director in the film I'm in that I'm producing, and he was trying to figure out something. He was like, "Tasha, what do you think?" And I'm sitting there. I had a thought, but I said, "I'm gonna wait."
mhm,
Like if he asks, I'll ask, but I'm gonna respect this man and his position, and I'm not gonna speak unless I am asked.
You're a
It-
team player. That's great.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
great. That's
yeah,
needed actually, because
yeah.
everybody just feels like they're supposed to have, like a lot of times people feel like, like having the loudest voice in a room necessarily is like makes them seem more important sometimes, but it's
I
not always
think the
that. Sometimes that
voice
quiet resolve where you're just like waiting, that actually makes it where I really want to know what she's thinking because she's saying like
exactly,
a lot by not saying. So Tasha,
exactly.
what is this thing with the internet where they've memed you to death and they all say that you are the loudest person? They've said things like, I know you've seen it. Like you'll see memes and it'll say, I heard her before I saw her coming, all kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
They be messing with you. What you think
I
about that?
know, but I am loud. I mean, there a lot of them are not wrong. A lot of them are not wrong. Listen to me. I am loud. Like my family's loud. We had so many aunts and uncles in the house that
Right,
in order for anybody to be heard, they had to be loud. Imagine every Saturday we would have, after church, because my family was 7-day Adventist, we would
right.
have some families have Sunday brunch or dinner. We would
Yeah.
do that on Saturdays, right? And
Hmm.
imagine if you got 20 family members in the house, 25 family members, and it's a small space. Everybody's like, "Hey, Aunt Camille. Hey, Uncle Angelo. Hey, Mom. Hey, Grandma. Hey, where cousin at?" Blah blah blah. Everybody was always yelling. Like I grew up in a loud ass environment. And in order to be
Oh my
able to,
God.
it was just how I was raised. Like say, like Janet Jackson. They are
Right.
all quiet. Them Jacksons all talk like this.
They do. It's like they're saving it.
I told her I'm gonna get you. I got her a karaoke machine, okay, for Christmas. I said, Yola, you can't talk to me, honey, unless you talk through that karaoke machine, okay?
No, it's funny because growing up African, it was the same way. There's just always a bunch of people around, so we are loud. Like, there's another thing is like with Africans, an African on a Bluetooth is the loudest person in the room. It's like, who are you talking to, us or them? Like, oh, so yeah, we are very loud people too. So believe
That
me,
is hilarious, sis. An African on a Bluetooth is the loud.
yelling. Oh man, I get in a car with my dad. I'm like, bro, like we are like, can we talk amongst each other? Like you are screaming at
That
whomever.
is so funny, sis.
Nah, it's
I
the
love
truth.
it.
It's the truth. But it's funny because even like as you were just saying now, which is the one thing I always consistently hear from successful people is the best stories you tell, and you've said it in so many ways. You've said it multiple times here. Is your own. Like tell your
Yep,
story. Tell the story the way you want it to be
yep,
told. It's
yep.
not difficult. It's your story. You ain't got
Period.
it's
Period.
yours. So that's the story that always resonates with people, and that always, whenever somebody has their big break, you see some people that have really made it. I mean, even like the Chris Rocks or the Kevin Harts and so forth. They're just telling their stories, even if it's self-deprecating. They're telling their stories, and that's
Right,
really a part of the journey.
right,
hmm
right, sissy.
So I mean, listen, we was talking about survival of the fittest. Let's kind of like reel it in a little bit because you and I could talk all day.
We sure
We
can.
didn't
I know,
even.
'cause I got a wedding
we
day, girl. I gotta do.
Because let me tell you something. Oh yes, you do. So how many more minutes do you have? Do you know?
I think like 5, less than
I
5.
got okay. I do want to say this just very quickly before we even before I consider this next question. Like for me growing up, like there weren't people like let's say like my color, like like I'm looking at you and I can see a reflection of myself. Like I'm seeing someone that I can aspire to be or that I can look up to. So like for me, the sort of the trifecta, it was like you, it was Don Lewis, and it was Tashina Arnold. I'm like, wow, I see myself in them. And the crazy thing is, in my life, I have now been able to speak to all three of you. So can't
Oh
nobody
my,
tell me nothing.
and you so beautiful. And you know what else? I
Thank
love your
you.
hair.
Thank you so much.
I
It's a team
love it.
move. No.
I love
Thank you.
it.
Thank you so much. I
And
really
you got
appreciate
the
it.
biggest, the most beautiful smile.
Oh, Tasha, thank you so
It just
much. I
lights
mean,
up.
no, I mean you remind me of people that I know, and I mean that in the best way. Like
Right.
it's not manufactured. It's not like a sort of like a so-called personality. It's not a put on. You're just you, and it's like that's the kind of folks that I grew up with, the people that I know, the folks that I've known since first
Yeah.
grade, type of thing. And I love that kind of relatability. Knowing and this even this some of the stories we were talking about in the beginning. Some of the folks that sent you off, like girl, you got to get out of here. This is not for
Right.
you. I experienced that. I experienced that going to college. They were like, yo, you gotta go. Never come back. So I relate to that. But really quickly, I do want to say this too. We talked about survival of the thickest, but we did not talk about the fact that you also have Desire, a Temptation Story, and that's out on Lifetime on April 19th. We need to make sure that we
Yes.
say
Let me tell you something. I'm so excited about that movie. I got a chance to work with my dear friend Derek Williams and Adrian Williams, who produced
that.
it. I produced it with them. I got a chance to work with Adrian Holmes, my dear friend. Oh my God. I directed him in on Bel Air twice. So when it was time for me to find my leading man, I said, I know the perfect guy would be, and that would be Adrian Holmes, because he was so wonderful. Like watching him work was just always so wonderful. He was always so kind to his castmates, and I had my little nervousness going on. So I really wanted to work with somebody that I felt I could collaborate with and have a really good time with. And I love the movie. Honestly, I think you're going to have a good time watching it. And
Mhm.
make sure y'all tune in April 19th on
April
Lifetime.
19th for sure. But and listen to what she just said now, y'all. She has somebody in mind because of the impression that individual left on her. She was able to reach out and actually present an opportunity for them as well. So let's all just make sure that we are being good to each other. We are being
Yeah.
good to ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And we are presenting ourselves in the best light so that someone can say, you know what? Tasha said she needs this person for this, and maybe you should look into that.
No,
You know.
that's real
Mhm.
talk, sis, though, because I would watch him and I would see how he was with Cassandra, with his children, his family, and what a leader he was on set. And I said,
Mhm.
that's the energy I want to be around.
All of that matters to me. Seeing how you treat other people makes all the difference. Don't be just nice to me and then nasty to somebody else.
Exactly.
That makes
Exactly.
Yep. I once again, Tasha, it's been such an honor to speak to you, and thank you for. I mean, literally coming here cleared it with the ministry. You know, like I didn't know we was gonna get a word today too. So I
Awesome.
really appreciate you for that. I appreciate you for the legacy and the stamp that you've left on Hollywood, for giving us all little black girls something to aspire to say that we can be this because it's happened. And it just, I really do. It's an honor to speak to you, and it's an honor to speak to you and to get exactly the person that I hoped you would be, right? And then much more, So it wasn't like,
Love it. Ah.
and then maybe one day we'll go to Magic City and get some wings. And
Okay.
my daddy gonna come on his Bluetooth, and
Right. And be yelling.
yeah, it's gonna be a good old time. We're gonna have the Smith family around. Everybody just
I
yelling.
love it.
No, but once again, my name is Koku with blackfilm.com. And like I said, I was here with the legendary Tasha Smith. She's an actress, she's a director, she's a producer, she's a teacher, she's a mentor. She is many, many things and inspiration to us all. You guys, we've got Survival of the Thickest streaming on Netflix now. Desire Temptation Story out April 19th on Lifetime. And again, as far as Survival of the Thickest, the season 2 premiere was out. So that was the exciting thing. So if y'all go to Tasha's Instagram, she ain't no joke, y'all. She showed out. It was a look. All right.
All right, sis.
Thank you so much, Tasha, and
Thank you,
enjoy the
sis.
rest of your interviews and enjoy your time here.
Okay.
Don't do nothing too crazy.
I ain't trust me. I'm just
I know. She said, I'm
okay.
going right to bed after
I'm
this.
gonna go
Me
eat
too.
some food. I'm gonna go eat. That's what I'm about to do.
That's what I'm talking about. Bye. Thank
Okay.
you so
Okay.
much.
Bye, sis.
Bye.
If you
Bye
want to see
bye.
more content like this on blackfilm.com, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell.